My name is Chase Iron Eyes. I'm with Lakota People's Law Project and Last Real Indians. I come from the Ocheti Shakonwi, which is an ancient confederacy, also known as the Sioux Nation. I was born into the Tituan, or the Lakota, the people that speak the Lakota language, and I live and was raised on the Standing Rock Nation, the site of the most monumental and historic pipeline fight in our time, that's why I'm out here in the festival family, just trying to share our message and keep the love, compassion, and strength going.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really powerful. Could you just quickly sum up what One Nation is?
Yes, One Nation is a very powerful expression of the work that people before me have begun, and that is reconnecting to our spiritual being, our spiritual nature. When we say, even just to say one nation, that's regardless of whatever language or culture or worldview you may have been born into. That's regardless of what phenotype, what skin color. To even to say that kind of sounds crude. Regardless of what human construct has been assigned to you, whether that's white people or Indian people or black people, regardless of what religion has been pushed on you, we are all one nation, and we're part of a movement that is trying to liberate from those labels, from those very they're powerful archetypes. They're foundations for the way that we interpret our way in perceive our place in the universe. So we are all part of the same spiritual liberation, this great awakening that is coming, that is living in our hearts, in our minds, because colonization simply means the separation of the human spirit from the human mind, the human being from our relationship to Mother Earth, to the sacred waters, the sacred sites, and the cosmos. That's what colonization is the forces that have brutally, in genocidal fashion, taken those from the original peoples of Europe, the Druids, the Celts, the Gypsies, whoever, in what is now called Europe, which is the birthplace of what is now called white people. They were colonized. They were original nations, just like us, in this hemisphere that we civilized. And what we see here is an effort to reconnect. We don't see people responding in a powerful way to dogma or to religion, Western science, academic traditions, and religious traditions, and the scholarship and the body of knowledge. The ways of knowing, the epistemologies and so forth of that world have left us in a place where God is dead. We are completely secularized, commercialized, pop culturized, and so forth. Like, we are walking around asleep. So One Nation is all of us coming together to liberate together and to build a new reality.
Thank you, man. I have goosebumps.
Yeah, that's, I mean, for me, honestly, like, that's, look, I was born into, I'm Lakota by blood. I was born into this language, this cosmovision of the Lakota people, the Tituan people. And I've deconstructed colonization as it applied from the colonizer to the colonized, and that dynamic. I've spent a lot of time there on the oppressed, colonized side of things. There's a very palpable liberation that we also seek in that part of that dynamic, to be liberated from economic, legal, and political oppression, genocide carried on to this day. They've tried for a long time to erase the original people's spiritual dignity. But what they fail to mention is that we are all original peoples, and we need to reconnect. That's what we see happening here. And for me, that's worth redefining colonization for, because we can then unite while we're here in this very short time here on Mother Earth, able to come together in times of historic alignments. I mean, once in many lifetimes are we going to see a full solar eclipse like this, and have the ability and the opportunity, the blessing to come together and share ceremony. So it's powerful, and we have to make sure it lives on.
It truly is. So is One Nation going to be involved in other music festivals or other festivals and gatherings? Is it something that's going to continue on? And
yes.
How long is it new to here?
This is the inaugural First Nations camp, or One Nation camp, but it's led by First Nations, and it's open to everybody. Like, the messaging really is, look, let's unite. We don't have time to concentrate on those differences. We can respect them. We're going to respect them. You know, I mean, Black lives still matter. A genocide and slavery and the Holocaust is a very real part of our controverted and shared history. But we don't have time to wallow on that. Other people will, but that's those of us who are like, okay, let's just recreate these relationships with Mother Earth now. Those of us who find ourselves in what is now called America need to not just call this our country, you know, land of the free, home of the brave. This is our homeland now. Those of the people that have descended from the founders of America and Canada and so forth in what is now called the Americas, this should be your homeland now. It's over 2 centuries. You know, you have had, anybody from that demographic has had the opportunity to build these relationships with the land, the waters, and the cosmos here in this hemisphere. This is what I would do if I were to go to Europe or to Africa or to Asia. We have to learn how to respect our homeland. It's not just our country. So it's an honor really to share that. We saw it come out in the Standing Rock Water Protector movement. We were redefining what a patriot is. A patriot is somebody that's willing to sacrifice their liberty or life for the protection of sacred waters, Mother Earth, our way of life, and really the movement to return to that way, to adapt it to the 21st century. And we saw the other, quote unquote, the other side, the military contractors trying to define us, those of us who are willing to stand up in peace and prayer, as jihadists, as terrorists. And we have to come through that. It was very beautiful to see all the U.S. veterans that came to Standing Rock and supported the water protector movement. For the first time in a lot of their lives, they felt like this is our cause. We are answering the call to defend our homeland and our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. What those are, who are the enemies, foreign and domestic? And what we're saying is, look, anybody who would destroy our water, our only sources of drinking water, for the benefit of the private corporation by extracting another common resource, the fossil fuels, those are enemies. And those who are trying to protect our water, our healthy ecosystems for now and for our posterity, those are the patriots. You know what I mean? There's no race involved there. There's no religion. This is our homeland. I gotta run, brother. I gotta roll.
That's perfect. Could you leave me with maybe like a quote of wisdom from your native language, something like you open this, something from that maybe you want to talk to people that might be seeing this?
Yeah.
You could leave with us.
Yes. Kola iuha ichichab na kola maka sitomnia chante tinza. We consider everybody friends all over the world, all over space, all over the universe, and we need to strengthen our hearts.
Thank you.
Yes.